Hey, Matthew here, jumping in before the proper start of the episode. We were just polishing up this pod as both Michael Woods and Riley Pickrell were involved in crashes in Stage 5 of the Giro d'Italia. I'm sure you've seen Pickrell's bloodied and bandaged nose on his social media. He's required a stitch. Woods suffered some serious road rash and cuts on his right side, knee, elbow, and back. We're not totally sure what the effects of these injuries are or will be. However, the interviews that you'll hear in this episode, while recorded at the start of the Giro, will still give you insights into the riders we all care about. Do have a listen. And to keep on top of updates on Woods and Pickrell, visit cyclingmagazine.ca.
16! Is there another group behind?
But the gruppetto will be there, you know?
Okay.
27 minutes the time cut, so no stress, okay?
Welcome to the Canadian Cycling Magazine podcast. I'm Matthew Piaro, and I'm with Matt Hansen. Welcome, Matt.
Always a pleasure. Such a pleasure. This is the highlight of my week.
I would expect nothing less. I know you look forward to this. You're always saying, Matt, are we recording this week? And I'm like, no, we record every 2 weeks. You're just gonna have to wait, bud.
Well, here we are.
Here we are. And in this episode, this is a big one. In this episode, we have a look inside the Giro d'Italia with a focus on Michael Woods and Riley Pickrell. Those are two Canadians who many of you know. They're on Israel Premier Tech. Woods is at his third Giro. He did the Italian Grand Tour in 2017 and 2018. Pickrell is a young rider from Victoria. He started on Israel's Continental squad in 2021 and moved to the pro team for this year. He's had a busy spring, sprinting against riders like Mads Pedersen in the Tour de la Provence. We're going to hear from both of these riders, who are Giro roommates, and we're going to hear about their hopes and goals for the big race that's underway in Italy right now. And we're going inside a Giro stage, as I took a ride in one of Israel Premier Tech's team cars, and I was really right there with Pickrell in his Giro d'Italia debut.
Hold on, you were in Italy?
you didn't notice I was gone for a week.
Oh, yeah, come to think of it. Yeah, that was kind of weird. Yeah, you weren't there. Huh.
Yes, Matt, I was in Italy, but I was in France first.
I'm confused. You're in France and Italy. Why would you be in France?
Well, Matt, as you know, I went to Nice last week. That's where I landed because I was heading east to Fréjus, and that is the town where Ikoi is based. Full disclosure, everybody, this trip was largely supported by Ikoi. It's a brand that makes clothing, helmets, shoes, and sunglasses, and it sponsors 3 teams, more than 3 teams, but 3 of its teams are at the Giro, and those are Cofidis, Arkea B&B Hotels, and Israel Premier Tech.
So what was the Ikoi place like? Was it pretty cool? I guess they have a lot of clothes there.
Well, actually, oddly enough, I went to the headquarters, which used to also double as the warehouse, but they have a new warehouse a few kilometers away, and that place, yes, they're jam-packed with clothes, helmets and everything, and that's also where they do some of the customization of the helmets and also the sunglasses. It's kind of neat.
What'd you bring me?
It won't fit you.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
I didn't mean to say it like that. It fits me. It fits me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I did actually go on a ride with the gear they outfitted me with, and oh man, it was tough. An Ikoi employee by the name of Ludovic he was just a monster, and one of his colleagues said, Okay, remember, don't kill this journalist like you did the last one on this bike ride. So that set the tone nicely. We went up some climbs, like Col de l'Oriasque and Col du Testanier. Those are...
Did he talk the whole time and really rub it in? I like that trick.
No, he didn't. Yeah, I know that's your jam, but no, we kept a good pace, very challenging pace for me. Those climbs might be familiar to people who are familiar with Tour des Alpes Maritimes et du Var. It was beautiful. It was amazing. And then we had a ripper of a descent and came back along the coast. And Ludovic, he was sporting some what were once very controversial pedals.
Oh, those pedals.
Yeah, you wrote about them back in February.
So I guess the employees can still use them.
A few employees are using them, actually, and a few of the people they work with are using them, including your bud there, Claudio Chiappucci. He's been riding...
Best friends.
I know, yeah.
We go back.
You and the devil.
Yep.
These pedals, if for anyone who doesn't remember, are the PW8, and they were banned around the time of Étoile de Bessèges. One of Ecoy's teams, Nice Métropole, was using them, or some of the riders were using them, and they had to scramble to find other pedals because...
I wouldn't start, by the way. Like, you imagine doing a road race and having to use someone else's pedals, like you're not used to them. I would say, no, I'm not racing. My knees would not be happy. Those poor guys.
Wow, you're so principled. But the bureaucratic woes surrounding this bit of tech are over, as I understand. And I spoke with the president of Ecoy, Jean-Christophe Rattel, and he says that these new pedals should be out in October. If you haven't seen them, listeners, they are quite wide, very wide platforms. The cleat, it's not like the triangle cleat we're used to on Shimano or Look pedals. There's a very subtle little clip. You almost clip in like it almost is like a downhill ski boot, but not held at the front of the toe, but just still underneath the foot. You clip in, there's no big cleat. It's very flat, I would say, underneath a shoe that uses these PW8 pedals. Supposedly, there's no dead spot now. I'm kind of skeptical about this, but supposedly the pedal efficiency is much better.
But isn't there some watts savings too? Isn't that the big appeal because they're so flat?
Yep, there's better power transfer. You save some watts. They're more aero. All of these things are what the company is saying about them. I'm hoping to get a pair someday.
You can maybe get 2 pair.
Oh yeah, you'd like to try them? You're interested?
Well, yeah, based on all that, for sure.
You could use the watts.
And I could probably use them around here. No one would notice. When does anyone check your pedals? Oh, crap. I just outed myself.
Yeah, right. For the next event you line up to.
All the local commissaires now are going to be checking you out.
Oh, all this attention. Yeah, you don't want this.
Yeah. There's Hansen and these legal pedals.
No, they're fine now. They're fine.
Legal pedals. I meant, great.
But no, I'm very curious to try them out. I will be writing more about these pedals on the website in the upcoming weeks, so stay tuned for that. But then I went to Italy.
Allora.
All right, and we'll hear more about that in just a second. This episode of the Canadian Cycling Magazine podcast is supported by Yolio Canada. Did you know that the brand, which is based in China, has an office in Montreal? That's where you'll find support for all of Yolio's carbon products, including bike frames, handlebars, and wheels. Just this past April, the company launched its Pro Next wheel set. Yolio says these new hoops are lighter, wider, and faster than last year's model. The Pro Next wheels with a rim depth of 35 millimeters tip the scale at about 1,250 grams. They're optimized for tires, clincher or tubeless, ranging from 28C to 32C, but you can go bigger if you want to take on some gravel riding with them. What's interesting about the rim construction is that it's filament wound. So instead of sheets of carbon fiber getting set to make the rim, it's built directly from threads of carbon spooled onto a form. It's high-tech stuff. The wheel set costs $1,339. If you need to get a little more aero, there are rim depths of 45 and 50 millimeters that cost a little bit more. But if you head to yoliocanada.com with the code UPGRADE2024, you can get 20% off a pair of these latest Pro Next wheels. So head to yoliocanada.com to take advantage of this offer now.
All right, so now we're in Italy. You're in Turin, and you're what, right by the start-finish kind of thing? Like you're in the little village, the race village. Where were you at?
Well, that's actually an interesting question because when I got to Turin, I was at the same hotel as Arkea B&B and Cofidis, and they were in town. But then the team I was going to actually stay with for the next few days was Israel Premier Tech. And guess where they were?
Miles and miles and miles and miles and miles away.
They actually were. They were about 60 kilometers out of Turin.
Yikes.
And I was curious about that. So I started asking around because the teams are assigned their hotels by RCS, the race organizer. It's not like they book them themselves for the whole Giro. And I was wondering, okay, is RCS worried about demonstrations? Because if you recall, actually, and I know you do, Matt, you wrote about this, at the Australian National Championships, there were demonstrators carrying banners. Some of them read, Israel Premier Tech not welcome. Simon Clark serves an apartheid regime and Free Palestine. Simon Clark was, of course, or is, of course, on the squad that's at the Giro. So this was in my mind when I was driving 60 kilometers out of town. And however, there may be a little of that at play here, putting the team in a hotel out of town. But also, Groupama FDJ was out there too. So I don't know, that just might have been how...
I think one thing, from what I remember reading about, writing about just the whole hotel situation, sure, Turin's it's not a massive city, but you have 200 cyclists, all the staff, you have the organizers. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people you need to get into these hotels. So you basically run out of real estate eventually, which is why they're scattered sometimes.
You know, you're onto something there too, because they show up with the team bus for the riders. Most of the teams have a, for lack of a better term, a cook bus. It's where the riders eat. All the riders at Israel Premier Tech were not eating in the team hotel. The staff was, but the riders were eating in their team bus because their nutrition and the process of cooking their food is very closely monitored. And then there's, the mechanic's truck and the trailer and all the washing of the bikes that needs to be done. So they probably might have run out of real estate or hotels in Turin that could feasibly accommodate all this infrastructure, all this stuff.
So what did you do? Hang out with the guys at IPT? Just sit around and, talk about sports and stuff? Hockey? No, we're not talking about hockey. Forget that.
Oh, sorry. Oh, my condolences. And yeah,
whatever.
Well, I wasn't exactly shooting the breeze with the whole team and having laughs because, they have a job to do. They were on a training ride when I got there. They got back, had a late lunch. And then I did manage to snag Michael Woods and Riley Pickrell for some interviews. So it was Woods who I spoke to first, and it was outside the team hotel. And as I mentioned, it was a late lunch that he had because it was like the first sunny day in a long time. So I think they had a nice leisurely training ride, or maybe not so leisurely, but they had a nice training ride, a pleasant training ride compared to the days leading up to that. And he and I sat down and chatted just about his goals for the Giro and also about Riley Pickrell, his roommate at the Giro. So let's hear from Mike Woods. And there's something in this interview about Riley Pickrell, something prescient, and I'll come back to it later. But maybe listen for that detail. Michael Woods, we are talking just ahead of the Giro. This is it'll be your third appearance at the Italian Grand Tour. How are you feeling just ahead of this race?
Feeling okay. I've had a very difficult start to the season just with several viruses that have really impacted my performances. and confidence is lower. Fitness isn't great. Probably one of the worst forms I've ever entered a Grand Tour in, but still excited to get into the race.
That's not usually the candid answer an athlete gives before a race. But I mean, maybe this is a bit old school. You're going to race into fitness, ride into fitness?
Yeah, certainly. I've had one instance where I was as equally bad of shape, maybe even worse. I did the Vuelta in 2018. I crashed at the Vuelta. I crashed at the Tour of Utah. Had a bad road rash. Flew back in economy, and with this terrible road rash, just like leg like totally ripped apart. And with the feet down, I ended up getting a lot of swelling in the leg, and it got infected. And it was a brutal infection. Like, touched it when I landed, and it was like cheese pizza, like just cheese came out of the wound. And I had to go to the hospital, get the skin peeled off, go on antibiotics. Didn't ride for a week, and I called my director up at the time, Juan Manuel Garate, and the team, and told them that I don't think I'll be ready for the Vuelta. And Juanma said, "Mike, even if you start at 65%, you'll be good in the third week." And I didn't believe him, but he said, "Just believe in me." And I won stage 18. So I'm keeping that in the back of my head, and well, not less in the back, that more in the forefront. Like just thinking about this, and this is giving me inspiration and confidence for the third week.
That's right. I remember that Vuelta, and that was your first Grand Tour win, and you've since gotten another Vuelta stage, a Tour de France stage, but it's the Giro that is missing from your Grand Tour palmarès. I guess that's also in the forefront of your mind?
Yeah, for sure. I think I've won 2 stages of the Vuelta now, and the Tour stage as well. And I came second to a stage at Tim Wellens in 2018. I just left it a bit too late, and not winning that stage has really almost haunted me a bit, because I want the three stages. I think there aren't many opportunities for me to achieve some big goals left in cycling. I have a couple still left, but I only have a year and a half left in my career, and this is one of the big ones that I really want to target. It's unfortunate that I haven't had the run-in that I want for this race. So worst case scenario, there's still the next year as an opportunity to get the stage win. But yeah, I want to get all 3.
I want to pick up on that idea of a year and a half. I know that your contract goes to the end of 2025, but you don't think there'll be an extension?
No, not like, I mean, just the most minimal of chances. Things change so much in a year and a half. But no, I don't want to continue doing this if I don't feel like I'm developing. And I mean, things can change, but I also don't want to be doing this if I'm terrible. And it's also a very dangerous sport. It's a lot of time away from home. That I was okay with when my kids were younger and I didn't have kids. Going away for Grand Tours, particularly when it was just my wife and I, wasn't as challenging, because Ellie would just come to the rest days, and you break up the Grand Tour. Now with 2 kids, it's so as anyone who has 2 kids under 5 knows, traveling with them is just, especially solo, is impossible. So Ellie's not coming with the kids to the races, and spending almost a month away from your family after doing a bunch of races, a bunch of training camps, is hard. And you really notice when you're away for a month how much you miss in their development. And I want to be a part of their development more in the near future. And although I love bike racing, I love being at the top of the sport. Eventually, I love my kids more and my family more.
Can you tell me about the team that you have, or that Israel Premier Tech has assembled for the Giro?
Yeah, it's a pretty eclectic group of guys on this team for this Giro. It's exciting. It's also fun to be a part of this team, just because Simon Clark and I have been talking about how it's cool to be. We're both born 86. He's both turning 38 soon, and we have a bunch of young guys that have very little Grand Tour experience. I'm becoming that guy who has more. This is my 11th Grand Tour. This is Simon's 19th, and then aside from Nick, everyone's at 0 Grand Tours or 1 or maybe 2. So it's fun to kind of be a part of the excitement and the energy of seeing the first Grand Tour through their eyes. And the team is dynamic and exciting in how we're going to race. We've got Ethan Vernon, who's an incredibly strong sprinter, really great guy, and he's also using this partially as preparation for a bid for the Olympic gold. Pardon me, in the men's team pursuit, and he's flying right now. We got Riley Pickrell, who fellow Canadian. He's my roommate at this race. I requested to room with him. He's a great kid, and he gets me motivated because he's high energy and just a crazy sprinter. And I think he's got some opportunities coming up in the opening week and maybe later in the race as well. He had that stage win at Tour de l'Avenir, and I think the sky's the limit with Riley. So I think it's going to be really fun to watch and see how he does here. Watch him suffer on those big mountain days. It's going to be fun. And then, we got a lot of other guys who are really dynamic. Marco Frigo is riding really well, an Italian rider, young Italian rider on our team, almost won from a break last year. Simon Clark, who I mentioned, who's going also after that treble. He's won a stage at the Tour, 2 stages of the Vuelta. He wants that Giro win, especially because he is Italian based. He lives in Andorra, but his wife's Italian, speaks Italian fluently. His early years in cycling were based in Varese. And then Nadav Reisberg, young Israeli rider who's been in a phenomenal domestique. Hugo Hofstetter, great sprinter as well. Nice guy, French guy. I work on my French when I'm with him. And Nick Schultz, who's been one of my favorite riders to ride with over the past season. He lives right by me in Andorra. We ride a lot together. He's got great insight, funny guy. And he turned pro only a year after I did. So and similar type of riders, we've shared a lot of experiences. He won a stage at Catalonia this year. That was brilliant. And it was so nice to see him win that because he's such a hard worker and is well deserved.
Will you be looking towards the blue jersey at the Giro? And if so, is there a strategy to a climber's jersey? It's the equivalent of the Tour's polka dot jersey. But if you are looking, what are some of the strategies that come with going after a KOM jersey?
Yeah, I'd love to fall into the KOM jersey. Again, my form's not great at the moment, so I'm not going to be able to really dip into that competition until later in the race, if at all. I think strategically, it is a really challenging jersey to fight for. I've seen it won in the Vuelta, for example, by a teammate named Davide Villela, an Italian teammate that I had, in a much different fashion than I've seen guys like Ciccone win it, where Villela got in early breaks and just kind of picked away at KOMs that weren't as prestigious, and all of a sudden had such a dominant lead that no one else was going for it. Whereas you see, even when I was going for it in the Tour, it was just this battle amongst 3 guys, and everyone was marking each other, and it was far more of a fight. And then ultimately Pogačar just swooped in and took it all away from us. So it's a really challenging jersey to tackle. One that I'm not prioritizing. The big goal is a stage win. But I will certainly have it in the back of my head if I'm climbing as well as I hope to be.
At the end of this Giro, I know you have big goals like a stage win, but what are other possible markers of success after a Giro like this?
Well, a big marker of success for me is going to be coming out of it better than I've been. Like I mentioned, a really disappointing start to the season I had. I was on some of the best form I've ever been on, and the very first races I did Ovar and Alpes-Maritimes, and I finished 4th at Ovar, but was pushed into the rocks by David Gaudu, and it really impacted my sprint. I don't think I would have. I'm not sure if I would have won, but I certainly would have been vying for the win had it not been for that push. And then the next 2 days, I was doing a great job leading out Ethan Vernon for the win in the sprint, and then attacking and riding a really dynamic race in the second day. So I was really confident after those races and really felt like this was going to be a year where I was going to be back on my top form, and then just got hit by virus after virus, and had some really disappointing results after that, and had to miss out on my favorite races, the Ardennes, which was a big challenge for me. But yeah, if I can come out of this race, even if I don't get a stage win, just with the confidence, the swagger that I had at the start of the season, that'd be a big success, because there's still a lot of big goals that I have for this season. Vuelta, Olympics, World Championships particularly, even potentially doing Montreal, Quebec again, now that the Vuelta doesn't intersect with Montreal, Quebec. So a lot of big goals that I still have after this race. And if I can come out of this, even if I don't get a stage win, but with just good confidence, good momentum, that's going to be a success.
Well, Michael, good luck at the Giro, and thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
So that was my chat with Michael Woods. The part that really struck me and that I've written about is how he's coming in the worst, what might be the worst form ever for a Grand Tour. He was so candid about that, and I found that kind of surprising. You know, I expected a rider who has ambitions, stage win ambitions at the Giro, to maybe, you know, give the standard answer. Oh yeah, we'll take it day by day. We'll see how it goes. I'm feeling fine.
Especially the Giro, because, you know, in the old days, you know, it was common for guys to be a little overweight and out of shape. And in the Giro in the 80s and 90s, you know, basically it was kind of like a group ride. And then when the helicopters came, they all, you know, raced the last 50K. But it meant you could be out of shape and ride into shape, like a lot of these, like Le Mans and these kind of guys would do. So but now, of course, you know, especially the Giro, it's game on from the first day. So it's interesting to hear that, you know, slightly different approach. I don't think it was by choice, because he had some sickness and stuff like that. But still, it's interesting to think about a guy getting into shape in 3 weeks of hard racing.
It's definitely not by choice. And yes, it's because of the illnesses that he's been facing in the last little bit that, yeah, he gets to go a bit old school. He didn't say exactly what stages he's targeting, but if you look at the stage race profiles, I think you can get a sense of where he might be looking to take a win.
But rest in peace his legs for the first week, though. Oh, he's going to be a little tenderized, as you would say.
Exactly. My next interview is, of course, Riley Pickrell. We went inside to the team hotel. We tried to find a quiet spot in the hotel's restaurant, but you'll hear some noise in the background of hotel staff, I don't know, doing stuff. Riley, though, was excited to be there, as you can imagine. So we got into how he was feeling that day before setting out on his first Grand Tour. Riley Pickrell, we are one day away from the start of the Giro. Tell me, actually, before we talk about how you got here, you had a busy spring. You got selected to Paris-Roubaix last minute. How much notification did you get before they said, hey, you're going to the Giro?
I got the Giro was planned for a while, but with the bigger races like the Giro or the Tour, we have like a long list. So they don't finalize the long list until about 2.5-3 weeks out. So I found out about 2 weeks ago that I was coming here. But I was told back in December and January that, like, hey, we're interested in sending you. So I was kind of training in preparation for it. So I had quite a bit of a heads up.
Now, how did you feel about that news originally when the team said, hey, we're thinking this might be on your calendar this year?
No, I was super excited when they brought it up. I had said to them, like, well before any selections was made, like just any of the touch people had within the team, like, hey, I really want to do a Grand Tour. I know it's asking for quite a bit, but like I feel it'd suit me. So if there's any opportunity, like, I just want you to know that I'm interested. And then as we got closer and closer, I like made sure that my intentions were still known. Like, hey, I don't know if like what you guys are thinking, but like if there's a Giro spot, like I would love it. And I made sure to keep, dropping those hints. So it was nice to receive the call, and they're like, yeah, you're officially going. So yeah, I was pretty excited.
Nice. I'm sure it was a delicate balance of not being too squeaky wheel, but still making sure people remembered you.
Yeah, exactly. I tried to be a squeaky wheel without being too annoying, because I don't think anybody wants to have an annoying rider for 23 days straight. So
So how did you view the Giro, as a younger cyclist, even though you're still a bit of a young cyclist now, but like this is your first Giro coming up. Where did it sit in your mind in terms of races and goals and ambitions, compared to other races? Like I know Paris-Roubaix was definitely one that captured your imagination. Was this one of them as well?
Yeah, I'd say growing up West Coast Canada, not exposed to any bike racing at all. You kind of saw Roubaix and the Tour as like the biggest races, and then next would be like the Giro and like maybe Ronde van Vlaanderen. Like it was like that kind of dynamic. So to be on the start line of the Giro is pretty big.
And you mentioned that your preparation had started for this a while back. But what were things like after Paris-Roubaix? Like you had a pretty busy spring that culminated in Roubaix. And then what? Then what was up for you?
Yeah, I took a couple days off, a couple days easy. The thing about the spring campaign is usually you're not training that much because you race, you recover. You might train one day and then you're recovering again for the next race. And with the classics, they're so stressful that even though like your fitness might not actually be improving during the racing, you're just so fatigued from the stress that you actually progressively lose fitness through the classics campaign. So once I finished that and I recovered from the stress of Roubaix, then I could actually put in like a substantial training block that I wasn't able to put in for the whole classics campaign. So I got 2-3 weeks of really solid training in before I came here, and I think like I've noticed a big difference in just that time period. So yeah, I'm excited.
I'm wondering then if we draw a parallel between the spring classics and a Grand Tour. Like, I hope the stress isn't too much throughout the race that it affects your fitness day in and day out.
I don't think so. These spring classics in Belgium are a step above almost every other race as far as stress. It's a fight for every corner, whereas here, bigger roads, not everyone races every day. Some like a mountaintop finish, I'm not racing, I'm just kind of commuting from the start line to the finish line. So it's similar in that sense.
Now there's a variety of ages on the team. You have some more senior members and a few younger members. Actually, now that I think about it, last year's team might have had a comparable mix, but all the older riders didn't end up finishing last year. It was a very young team. But here we have a mixture of old and young. Have you been getting any old soldier advice from some of the other riders?
I don't know about old soldier advice, but my roommate is Mike Woods at this race, which has been really nice. Even though we've just started, it's nice to again, being as least annoying squeaky wheel as I can, being like, hey, like, do you have any advice for just like the race in general? And he can just drop minor pointers along the way. That I'm sure it'll be really helpful. So
I heard Mike actually requested to have you as a roommate and wanted to keep the Canadian connection going.
I just had he just texted me one day, hey, you want to be roommates at the Giro? And I was like, yeah, I definitely do. Like, this is I like Mike, like he's a really good dude. But I just saw it as also just like a really good opportunity to learn a lot during the course of the month.
Now tell listeners what your role is on the team.
I'm kind of dancing between sprinting and lead out. Really, I'm just here for like a helping and development role. There might be a few opportunities for me to race for a result, but for the most part, I'll be helping people where I can and just trying to learn as much as I can over the course of the 21 days. I think by come the last week, that's where last week and a half, that's where most of the learning really going to take place. When we're in the trenches and deep into the race, just learning to get through and survive, I think still make a big difference.
So is that something you want to take away from this race, is just like have that Grand Tour experience and then know what to expect for the next one?
Yeah. The Grand Tour experience and like the adaptation of just racing for 21 days. like I can train hard for 21 days. I've done it before, but it's very different when somebody else is deciding the pace every single day. It's not like some days if you're training and you don't feel so good, you can just ride easier. Whereas like here, it's like, oh, you can ride easier, but you won't be allowed to start the next day. So your option is just to keep on pushing. So when you come out of a Grand Tour, everyone I've talked to has been like, man, you come out of your first Grand Tour, you're just a completely different rider. You're so much fitter. You're so much more resilient. So I'm really looking for that as far as a future adaptation as well.
Well, Riley, thank you for your time and good luck over the next 21 days of racing.
Thank you very much.
All right, that was Riley Pickrell. Anyone else you spoke to there, or was that it?
No, you can betcha I was talking to loads of people, but the next person I got on the mic was actually the next day. So the next day, after a commute to work, a 60-kilometer drive into Turin with the team, I spoke with John Adams. You remember the name John Adams, don't you?
St. Catherine's finest.
That's right. He is a soigneur on Israel Premier Tech. He came over to that squad in 2021 when Woods joined, because before that, John Adams was at EF, and he's been in cycling for a long time. He was even at Spider Tech back in the day. He's also been on this podcast before. I kind of ambushed him at Montreal Grand Prix, but in this case, I spoke with him in a more chill moment of the day. The racing was full on, but he had a moment to chat because of just his role as a soigneur. There's a bunch of soigneurs on the team, all with different duties, and he was at the buses, and we're going to hear more about what he does there, and also some of his thoughts about what might be ahead for Woods and Pickrell at the Giro. John Adams, soigneur at Israel Premier Tech. I've pestered you before at races. That was a one-day race. That was in Quebec and in Montreal. We're here at the Giro. You've done roughly 7 Tours de France, but this is your first Giro. Can you tell us maybe what some of the major differences for you as a soigneur are between a one-day event and a Grand Tour?
Yeah, that's correct. This is, I've done 7 Tour de France's, and typically my career span is about 14 years long, and I've never done a Giro. The reason why I never did a Giro is because I've always, when I used to work with Cannondale Garmin and Garmin Sharp and EF, I always used to do what was called the Cobble Classics, and then that would roll into the Ardennes Classics, which are considered one-day races that your question was about. A one-day race would start typically in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning, and you'd be in the car driving by 8 a.m. And then you'd be back at the hotel roughly at around 6 p.m., 7 p.m. So that's almost a 12-hour day, where in a stage race, for example, today, we woke up at 8. We finished a relaxing breakfast by 9:30. We were in the car driving by 11. And the race didn't start till 2. And then the race will finish at 6. So we'd be at the hotel by 7. So it's a little less of an intense day, I would say. A little more of a relaxing day. However, it is a build-up for 21 days long. So that does tire you out after a while.
It's an endurance event for a soigneur as well as a rider, I can imagine.
Yeah, that's totally correct. It's an endurance event for all staff, not just a soigneur, but for a bus driver, for a mechanic, for the directors, for the media team. It's just so long, and everybody thinks there's this glorious rest day you get in day 9. We do get a rest day, but that doesn't mean we rest. We do get up a little late, and we do stay up later the night before, having a couple glasses of wine or some beer. But we still have to do our job every single day, even if it's a rest day. We're still doing treatments. We're still making bidons. We're still solving logistical issues. So, yeah, it's definitely a war of nutrition for the riders and then also the staff for this 23 days and 21 days of full racing.
Yeah, I like how you make that distinction. Everyone talks about 21 days of racing, but no, those 2 rest days are full-on work days for you. Today, you are not by the side of the road handing up musettes or anything like that. Is that something you usually do in a Grand Tour?
Yeah, so in a Grand Tour, most teams and all the teams I've ever worked a Grand Tour with has always had 6 soigneurs. One soigneur is dedicated to being with the bus more or less at all times, which means taking care of the riders, whether it's pre-stage or post-stage. And that's my responsibility, and has been for the last few years, is just to be around the guys pre and post-stage and just make sure they have everything they want. The other 5 soigneurs, 2 of them typically will do the hotel transfer, which is probably the hardest job of all of them. They'll be moving all the luggages, setting up massage tables, setting up food rooms, setting up a whole bunch of stuff, and moving it around. So that counts for 3 soigneurs there. You have an additional 3 more that are out on the road. They'll be doing either extra bottle points or they'll be handing out musettes. I believe tomorrow I'll get a chance to be somewhere close to a climb where I'll hand out a bottle or 2. But yeah, majority of this race I'm expected to just basically be with Robert, the Polish bus driver here, and just sort of assist him in any way and the riders in any way they can.
Are there any stages that you're particularly looking forward to in this race?
Besides Rome, yeah, let's say, I don't know when this is going to run, so I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but, I like to see stage 15, 16, and 17. I think those stages are going to be unique with all the climbing going on. I have heard of earlier stages that are, ear tagged for Mike. Also, maybe one for Riley. It'd be really good to see Riley do well. So I know what stage he's going for, and I would love to see that rookie do really well in the stage he gets a shot at. That would be great, because to see Riley be immersed in this team, and he's rooming with Mike, and to see him grow as a rider is going to be really special. And if he can win one stage and take that pressure off of Derek G that couldn't do it, it would be absolutely amazing.
There are a lot of Canadian fans who are hoping for exactly the same thing. John, thank you very much, and I hope you have a good Giro.
Yeah, thanks so much. It was great having you here, and I know you're going in the car next, so I hope you get to see a lot. Enjoy your car ride.
Thanks. That was my chat with soigneur John Adams, and as you heard, he mentioned I was going to go in the team car right after that. It was I've been in team cars before, but never at a Grand Tour. And at this Grand Tour, there are 2 team cars for Israel Premier Tech. And the first one are DS's Rene Adril and Rene Mandry. Yeah, that's right. 2 Renes. Isn't that weird, Matt? 2 guys with the same name doing a similar thing together?
Weird, Matt.
Yeah, totally. They did joke about it with me, and that I was asked them, how do people tell you apart when they need to get in touch with you? And they say, they just say Rene.
That might work at our office.
Yeah, but we have 3 Matts in our office.
It's true.
It's insane. But no, I was with neither of the Renes. I was with Oscar Guerrero. He has been with the team for a long time, since 2017 is the first year he started. And before that, he was with Euskaltel and some Conti teams. He's actually been in cycling since about, I think, 1990 as a rider. And then he got into directing. Also in the back, it was the mechanic, Rock Yechik. And that's who gave me a spin of the course with about 30 kilometers to go. So if you remember stage 1, it came into Turin and then did a loop of about 30 kilometers. It went up Colle Maddalena, which was Cat 2 climb, and then there was an uncategorized kicker not far from the finish called San Vito. It was after I got in the car, or shortly after I got in the car, that we came upon Riley Pickrell in the midst of his very first Giro stage. Now, remember way back to what Mike Woods said earlier in this episode? He said, I think it's going to be really fun to see how he does here. And then sort of mischievously, Woods added, and watch him suffer on those big mountain days.
What a supportive teammate.
This wasn't a mountain day, but as you'll hear in this this clip, that, they raced 140 kilometers in total. There was a 4th category, 3rd category, 2nd category climb, and that uncategorized one. And for a rider like Pickrell just showing up to his first Grand Tour, it must have been a kick in the chamois. Like, just, it was full on. So also, as Guerrero points out, they spent 2 days not really riding that hard. They did some shakeout rides, but I think once they turned on the gas there, it affects all kinds of riders differently. And just to set the scene a little further, Riley Pickrell was with David Decker, who's another sprinter on Arkea B&B Hotels, and also Adrienne Petit of Intermarché Wanty. They were kind of their own little gruppetto for a bit. And the clip opens with some of the race radio. I should say, Guerrero was wonderful as a, I guess, what do you call him, a host? He's busy de-essing, but he was just a font of information. I just let the recorder run for an hour. I've edited everything down, but he was great. And what you hear at the beginning is some sounds from within the car, and then you hear Pickrell, who's just outside the car, and then Guerrero chiming in. So let us go inside the Israel Premier Tech team car.
Okay, what do you think for the chasing back the flying away the memory quarter is that 1 minute down on the leading to 1.
Good job, guys. Good job. Take it easy. Take it easy.
Is there another group behind? But the gruppetto will be there, you know? Okay. 27 minutes the time cut, so no stress, okay? No, the idea of UAE is because he's going to attack. I see Michael Bear like pushing, really pushing, is because they want to bring the people like this until 4Ks to go. That is the 4Ks to the top is the steep. And I think Pogacar is going to do the first attack of the Giro.
So 4 kilometers from the first attack of the Giro.
Yeah.
A Pogacar attack.
Yeah, because the last 4K is around 9 average. So it's a good place for him to make difference even. And maybe he doesn't want to fight just in the last moment, you know. So I think he will try. How UAE is riding in front, like really pushing, is because they are preparing the attack.
Riders.
Now, you're getting information from this TV, you're getting info from VeloViewer here. Is there any other source of info for the race?
No, just also the info that you have from the first car. When René is talking, give it the information, and you imagine a little bit, or sometimes we talk, no? Car to car, but no. I think we have enough, no? Now, our situation just to protect Riley, that he doesn't have any problems to arrive on time. It is like this, no? The climbers are attacking and the sprinters are suffering in the back, you know, those stages. So, but maybe in 2 days, all of them, they will be fighting for the victory, no? The sprinters. So it's the cycling.
And so while the 2 Renés are up in car A, this is car B, and like you said, you're helping Riley. And is there anybody else at the back of the race that you're looking to support?
No, normally we cover always the last one, and then you can in the worst scenario that they have any mechanical problem in front, also you can cover also them, no? Maybe after a few minutes I will go maybe a little bit up to give some bottles to another guys that are also dropped, because now some of them like Hugo or even Vernon, they are just saving the legs now for the next days that are coming. So we try to protect them also with bottles, but always you need to be with the last one just in case that there is a mechanical problem that he's always safe, no?
Riley's here in this group of 3. He's looks like he's okay. He's holding on.
This is Decker, the sprinter also. But normally the sprinter, they are used to be in this situation, so they know how to manage the rhythm, everything. When you are in the gruppetto, it's easier because you are a big group, no?
It's almost funny that Pogacar is almost that predictable.
Because he's so strong this year. And also he's so aggressive. We didn't see any races that he's not going for winning. So it's true that here he came to win the Giro and it's different, but still, how is the stage? It's suit him very well. So we don't expect that he's going to be conservative. We don't expect. Maybe tomorrow, but not today.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone I talked to, who's going to win today? Pogacar.
Yeah, I think also Bardet is suffering. We see there, and it's coming from Tour de Alps, with in a high. But first day, Grand Tour. After 2 days here, like riding easy. Maybe sometimes these kind of finals, that they are hard finals, you will find someone with bad moments, like it happened now with Bardet.
And then it could come good for him in a few days. He could find his legs.
For sure. He will find his legs, and how we saw in Tour de Alps, and but he can lose today, few minutes, for thinking to be maybe top 10 in the GC like he used to be, So the front of the race is only 2Ks in front, okay? No stretch, okay? But
Why is the photo doing?
no, it's only 2Ks, 2.3, no stretch, okay? I let you know in the top the real gap, okay?
Yeah, Bernie, come on. We are almost on the top. Come on. You open.
And he's not going to attack. No. They are 1K to the top, so he's not going to attack.
So 1K to the top of Col Maddalena.
Yeah, it's here, yeah. They are 1K to the top, we are now to 3.6, so he's not going to attack, no. Here is going to be conservative. Okay, everybody was wrong. Okay, till now, because maybe he will try here,
Yeah. San Vito is that little bump before the
It's
end.
more difficult after now to control this, and also with a teammate just to position here, It's more difficult. Sometimes that's why I was thinking that this is better place for him just to make difference and then go more, everything more control here. But okay. Maybe he doesn't want to take the jersey. Okay.
I mean, very few riders have kept pink for the whole race. Merckx was one of them. I can't remember. There was another one, I think.
Gianni Bugno. I don't know, it was 91, 92, I remember. Yeah. And who was the other one?
Merckx. Eddie Merckx.
Eddie Merckx. Gianni Bugno, Merckx. Yeah.
Hello back there.
Hello,
Can you tell me your name?
I'm Rock.
Rock. And how's the race been for you as a mechanic in your backseat nest?
Today very calm, so it's okay. If it stay like calm, that we don't have mechanical issues and problems, it's perfect.
And what do you have back here?
We have my complete toolbox and spare wheels, and on top of the roof, bike for every rider if it's necessary to change.
All riders, or does car A have other bikes?
No, both cars has same setup bikes, so we are covered in both cars, same specification.
And is there a certain order to the bikes and how they're stacked on top of the car?
Yeah, we have an order how is on both cars, same position of bikes, like from ranking or what we will do in race, that we have bike on the best position for the rider if necessary needed.
So whose bikes are on the ends?
Frigo and Schultz are on the right side. On left side are Woods and Clarkey.
And where's Riley Pickrell's bike?
Riley Pickrell is front left.
You've got the map memorized in your head.
Yes. I have a paper that if I'm that is stressful moment, still I can look and check for me where the bike is.
Perfect.
Concentrato inizialmente da zona Cagliari, dove tra l'altro ci sarà da...
Also, it's drop Aresman. Uy. Today they found Aresman. It was coming one of the two leaders of Ineos. you know what happens sometimes, the first stage, this kind of stages after 2 days that, you take easy, it's raining, maybe we do rollers, maybe. And when you move the tree, you find always something. Yeah, because Arisman is coming, one of the two leaders with Geraint Thomas. Last year he was top 10, and what you see?
He may not have it in him this year.
No, maybe no, not today. No, you never know, but not today. But yeah, he can lose nice time today. 1 minute now, yeah, the downhill maybe they will not put the cars in, so maybe he will not have time to come back. And again, the last kick. It's only 6 minutes now in the top. We have 1.5 to the top. If we do another, I don't know, 6 minutes maximum, 5, we have more than enough, okay? All good. After it's a long descent, and just the last kick, okay?
So, Oscar, you've been DS at Israel since 2016?
Yeah, well, we came on 16, but it was the year was 2017 when they jumped to pro. Before it was academy, like a Conti team, and yeah, from the beginning of this new project, I'm here in the team, yeah.
And some of your other teams was it Euskaltel that you were on?
Yeah, I was in Euskaltel before, until finished Euskaltel 2013, and then before also I was with 3 different teams, small teams, pro teams, but it was 2 years, and then the sponsor didn't follow. Another 2 years, another sponsor. So it was difficult to keep the team there. But yeah, I was And before I was maybe 14 years in the 15 in under 23 and elite. Yeah. My first year was 1990 when I was 19 years old.
You have been in cycling, yes, a long time.
All my life. Before I was a rider, so since I'm 7 years old, I neither left the bikes in one way or the other, no? Yeah.
Now, last year you were on the Giro as well. That was the year of Derek G. And this year we have another young Canadian here. And a bunch of young riders. Last year, the team that finally went to Rome was mostly the younger riders because a lot of the senior riders couldn't make it to the finish. What are some of the things you advise the younger riders who are doing their first Grand Tour or first Giro?
Yeah, okay, last year I remember was an amazing year. Derek G was impressive, but also Marco Frigo was super good. Also Steve Williams, Sebastian Verbi, so everything was going super, super well. And all of them, they were young, no? What I try always to advise and to help them is more about the tranquility, because sometimes when you are coming, and then what I'm trying to always to give them this calm, because when you are coming to this Grand Tour, normally you are excited, so also nervous, and you don't want to, you want to be in the race, you want to do things. And they need to understand that a Grand Tour is different race. So you will have good days, bad days, and a lot of moments to suffer. No, like today, maybe Riley. No, he didn't expect maybe to be here, but after I will speak with him to say, okay, it's normal. It's the first day. No worries. Just get into the race, and you will see that it's completely different, not day by day. So always just they feel that we are there, and we protect them, and we give the best advices just to. Minimum to do the race because we'll change, his body, his future, and also when he has some options in the sprint, then he will go with all the ambitions to do the best, no? Yeah.
I've heard that. G spoke of it last year, and Riley spoke of it just the other day. That Grand Tour really changes a rider, really makes them have to do physical adaptations that they would never have done otherwise.
No, it's true. The body changed because they are so big efforts, and in 20 days that is the best training camp that you can have, the best training block that you can have, and from there you go more deep, and so on. After the effort that you are doing, they are different. So yeah, always when you do the first Grand Tour, you feel the year after that you are another rider.
I'm gonna check you back 27 seconds with 1K to play.
So we're over the top of Col Maddalena, and Riley and his 3 other, what do we call them? They're not fellow riders in the back.
Because they will see each other a lot of days when they have climbs. They see always each other, you know, the sprinters there. So finally, in the end of the 3 weeks, they are good friends.
That's right, just from spending all this time together.
Yeah.
So now it's a descent,
I
and
understand now. So here we don't lose any second. Even maybe they will close some gaps. So everything is under control.
now do DSs ever get any training in driving? Because we're coming down the descent right now at a pretty good speed, and we're taking some corners. Where do you learn these driving skills?
I think it's experience, you know. So many years in the races that you have this. We didn't have these classics, you know, classes. So it's what it is. It's about experience, you know. And normally it's true that when the new DSs are coming to this job, so it's what at the beginning is the more difficult part for them, no. But for us, we are used, you know, to keep the distance, to have always 5 or 4 eyes, you know, in front, right, left, and this feeling that you have that normally you see what is going to happen before it happens, no? And it's experience. It's just experience. Sometimes it's true that I'm not a driver that go fast unless I need. So because also you have mechanic people with you, you need to take care of them. It's not about going, you know, fast and they get sick, you know. So, but sometimes we need to go fast because we have a puncture. You need to give bottle. You need to cover something, and there is the moment that you need to drive very fast, you know, but always with sense.
I like that, having 5 eyes in the back of your head, eyes in the sides of your head.
Yeah. Yes, because sometimes even if we are talking, maybe we saw in that someone had a puncture on their team, or maybe they stopped for something. So you have in your mind that one guy is coming behind, even if you don't. If it's not your rider, you know that it's coming, so you need to have always one eye here, one eye there, and more in the downhills that maybe you need to be careful that it's not coming to you, so you need to brake before. And but it's like we have a big radar that we control, you know, what happened in your team, but also in another teams here, no, around, yeah.
The TV signal's broken up here. We've got no signal.
We lose the connection sometimes. This is not the best place to see the TV, but okay, sometimes it helps, and that's why we have. Well, that is fast also for this kind of finals. We see here Pogacar, but I don't think it's a real attack, eh?
I can't believe you can make that out with those scrambled pixels. The TV here is garbled with just a smear of pixels, and you can pick out Pogacar in that mess.
I saw one moment that went away, and the way that he was moving. Yeah. 13 minutes, okay?
13 minutes
here. 13 minutes here. So all good, eh? All good. If not, you know, sometimes they trust, but they say, well, be careful with the time cut. And now we go to the last climb, and they don't need to go all out. They can, take the pace and go in a up, and they will lose in the final 15, you know. And then you save the legs more for tomorrow, for the day after,
Right, yeah, the information you're giving him is super essential, because if he didn't know how far he was, he might be burning so many matches that will affect him later.
Yeah, for sure. Everything that you can save for all the Giro, it's important, you know. Today maybe you had a bad day, but okay, you can save. It doesn't matter if you lose 20 or 22 or 18, no? So you can lose, the limit is 27, so you can lose, 20 something, but you save the legs, or save the legs, or you save more legs. Because if you are here drop, normally the legs are done, but Yes. Yes, no worries. Now it's around 8 minutes. So we do the climb. It's only 800 meters and then downhill, no risk, okay?
Yeah.
And no stress, okay? This is sometimes when the start of a Grand Tour, 2 days a little bit easy in the hotel, no worries. And also the stage was hard. You will get into the race and you will take your rhythm, everything. So, I saw people from the GC also drop. So,
I hope Riley finds those cheers motivating, even though it seems pretty lonesome on this hill for him.
Riley is a fighter. He's one of the bigger fighters that I saw. His mentality is super strong, and we will give some motivation today. But it's super hard. I mean, it's a real fighter. It's a rock, like for me, So we saw so many things with very bad conditions, weather conditions, and he's without glove, t-shirt. So no. I think it's strong.
Yeah, I guess we saw his strength in the spring races that he did. He was at Dvarstor-Vlaanderen. He was at Roubaix. I'm trying to remember.
He started very well in a Provence. I was there with him. He was third in the first sprint. Matt Pedersen won, and and that was good moment for him. He was very, very in shape, at the beginning of the season. Then I was unlucky because he was sick after La Provence. He was running full gas 3 days, and that was the reason. But after also we saw again in the classes, like good classics he did, no? In Sal de Price, I think he was 10 or 11. But okay, yeah. Everything that his first year, even if he's able to win one race here or one race there, it's about the process of the learning, no? And doing everyday hard races and high level races, So. This is what I like from cycling, that they clap everybody. Doesn't matter if it's your team or it's another team, So all the riders are important for the people.
Yes, the crowds here nearing the top of San Vito climb. It's thick, it's tight. This car doesn't have a lot of room to move. And Riley is just ahead. And we're at the 3 kilometers to go mark. The crowds are behind some barriers now. And hope it's smooth sailing for Mr. Pickrell.
Yeah.
Are we at the final?
Left.
Oh, right. Left and right. 900 meters.
900 meters, and now the last 500 is the last corner is 500 meters to go. Yeah.
Final corner for Pickrell. And we get lollipop to the side. Pickrell's done his first Giro d'Italia stage.
Yeah, the first one. Sometimes it's the difficult one. You never know. But now he's in the race, and then now we start the normal rhythm. Race, recover, and
for 21 days. Well, 23. Those rest days are essential for him.
Yeah, the rest days sometimes everybody's waiting to the start, and you ride 2 hours today, okay, one day, another 2 hours the second day, but you miss some efforts, and sometimes that's why the first day, like the after the rest days, the day after is super difficult for the riders, because maybe you lie in the bed and you don't do anything, and the muscles are almost dead the day after, and then when you have to accelerate, the muscles they don't answer. So that's why, like here, the 2 days before the race, if you don't do any small efforts, you can start like this,
Mm-hmm. Right here. Well, thank you so much.
Okay. We are ready to help.
That was fantastic. That was the best seat in the house, I think, even though we had blurry pixels. That was amazing. And that's the episode. It is written and edited by me, Matthew Piaro. I had help from Matt Hansen. Thank you, Matt.
I really didn't know you were in Italy. I wish I'd known. I had a couple things I wanted you to pick up for me.
I also had help from web editor Terry McCall. This episode of the Canadian Cycling Magazine podcast is produced by Adam Killick. He does the music too. Listeners, I don't know if you've noticed, but I definitely did. Starting the last episode, Adam tweaked the intro and outro. The music is just, it's got this little bit of extra dimension to it. I love it. And yeah, it's great. Thank you, Adam.
I could have used some olive oil, some really good stuff. You could have brought me back some of that.
Oh yeah, that's super easy to bring through customs.
Okay, good. So why didn't you?
Have you been on a farm? Have you looked at any agricultural material? Did you even think about a pig? If so, you cannot come into Canada. No, I did not bring you any food.
Fine.
I must take a moment and make one correction. As Guerrero and I were talking in the car, we were musing about riders who have worn the pink jersey from end to end. Of course, Guerrero remembered Gianni Bugno. He got the year almost right. That was 1990 that Gianni Bugno won the pink jersey from start to finish. The other rider, as I recalled, was Eddie Merckx. That was in 1973. That was immortalized in Stars and Water Carriers, a great film. How do you say the director's name there, Matt? Is it Jorgen Leith?
I'm not even going to correct you right now at this point. Just
correct me. I want to know.
Leith.
Is it your
Jan Life or something like that?
It's got an O with a little slash through it.
Yeah, but you can spell Jan with that way, or you can spell it like my father's way, J-E-R-N. It's Jan Life or something like that.
Jan Leith.
Yeah, I don't probably Life. Yeah.
So the TH is actually like ours.
Oh, how do you spell it?
Leth is his last name. The director.
Oh, I don't know how you say that. Light? That's not a super common name. But definitely the first one would be Jan.
Okay. Well, anyway, definitely love that movie. Love the soundtrack. Stars and Water Carriers. Oh, and finally, the other riders. We have to go way back for these riders. There's Costante Giardengo and, not surprisingly, Alfredo Binda. I still kind of have jet lag, but which is not surprising. I don't even like daylight savings time. I find that difficult.
Yeah, you do complain about that.
Yeah.
Complain about a lot of things, actually.
Excuse me?
Oh, nothing. Sorry. Are we still recording?
Yes, we are. You know what a great way of getting rid of jet lag is?
Alcohol.
No, going on a crazy hard bike ride. That's what did it.
Oh.
Crazy hard bike ride just knocked me into the right time zone. So maybe I'm going to go do that now. My family would thank me and that, I'd stop whinging about the time change.
Well, have a good ride. Better get fit.
Oh, yeah?
Fitter.
Oh, okay.
It's almost the Matt's training ride season.
Oh, no. And you're going to tell me what your FTP is again?
No, I don't need to. I can show you.
Yes. All right. I can't wait. Actually, that was one of the merciful things about being away is there was no FTP talk or updates.
Oh, don't worry. I've compiled it for you.
Oh, is it all taped across my monitor or something? Pages and pages?
Yeah. The coffee machine, the microwave. You're like, not everyone in the office knows what FTP is, so it's all Greek for some people. For the runners, they don't know what it is.
That's a lie. You've told them what it is. Everyone knows.
Yeah, but they don't know what it is. It's all Greek.
Oh yeah, you're saying no one appreciates it like I do?
Yes, exactly.
Oh God, maybe I'm going to take an extra long ride and avoid the office. I think that's what's happening today.
I can DM it to you.
Thank you everyone for listening. Ride safely and we'll talk to you later.